I have no idea what happened. Sorry, I'm back. Anyway, Sarah, so that's my answer for you, okay? Watch that video. I'm just continuing from why I just got disconnected a few minutes ago. Sorry, everybody. Continue working on spacing out those night feedings by using that method that I spoke about a few weeks ago in that video, and try to get consistently nailed that sleep window. I think that's going to help you a lot, Sarah. Okay. Ashley, you are the next question here. Okay, Ashley. And sorry about that, guys. I'm not going to delete the old video because I'm just posting them here together. Okay, so Ashley, you're due April 10th with a boy, and we will have a 22-month-old at that time. I breastfed my first and hope to as well this time. I breastfeed on demand with my daughter until we establish a good schedule, again, that I'm planning on. I'm not sure if this falls into the category, but when is developmentally appropriate to have a baby on an eat, play, sleep schedule? This is totally appropriate. This is a newborn question, Ashley, okay? The first schedule we implemented was naps every 1.5 hours after she ate. When should I try for this schedule? Okay. You are all going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to tell you the truth, okay? You can start a schedule or a routine with a baby as early as day 1, okay? Obviously, it's difficult to force a baby onto a routine when they're so very little because they're not going to magically acquiesce, right? But on the same token, the more you incorporate it, the better your baby is going to respond. So already when you have a newborn, I'm not going to, it's basically the rule is when you feel up to it and you feel good that you can start enlisting a routine, okay? So if your baby's a few days old, and you want to start enlisting this eat, play, sleep schedule, again, it's very hard to keep a little tiny newborn awake that's a week old. But the earlier you start, the more acclimated to being awake your baby will become, and then you won't suffer from this day-night confusion where you have a baby that's sleeping all day and crying all night. So what you want to try to do is start that as early as possible when you feel like you have the strength to be able to begin enlisting it, and the strength that you can actually start teaching your little newborn boy how to be on a routine. And you can start by gradually spacing out the daytime feedings, gradually teaching him to stay up a little bit longer. It's a process. With newborns, it's not like a quick fix of getting them onto a routine in a day or two. It's all about repetition because they're little, doing it over and over and over and over, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. But after that, if you stick with it, you can have a newborn on a schedule by 4 weeks. 5 weeks, okay? And I don't like the word schedule because a lot of parents flee from the word schedule when I say it, who are, unstructured and don't like the word. It's just a routine, all right? It's a sequence of events, consistency to your days, an order that you follow, but you can start really, really early with that. And even though your baby might not magically respond to it, Ashley, the more you incorporate it, the easier it will become for your baby, okay? Next question here, we have Jenny. Your 5.5-month-old does not nap well without you and takes forever to go down at night. Okay, this is a question a little bit more detailed. Jenny, I'm going to answer you if we have time at the end, because a 5.5-month-old is not a newborn so much in my book, but if I have time at the end, I'm going to come back and answer that question. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, this is a long question. That's great, because then I have details to answer you, but I want to first answer the newborn questions here. Okay, someone else has a question about a 6-month-old. Any other newborn questions? Yes, okay. Ariel, my 8-week-old son will not go to sleep before 11:12 a.m. He's exhausted and falls asleep on us, but once we put him down, he screams his head off. I've tried walking out of the room and letting him be, and he doesn't stop. I've left a nightlight on, but that doesn't work either. We feed him, and he dozes off, and then he wakes himself up. Then he goes on all night. During the day, he's fine with naps, but I've put him down, no problem. I would like to get him to bed at 7 or 8 p.m. Help! Okay, fine. So, Ariel, what I would tell you to do is, again, the same thing I'm telling everyone here. I can't stress enough. Newborn sleep issues stem from them being overtired, okay? Most of the time. Newborns are overtired and they can't nap well and they can't go to sleep. And if your baby is not falling asleep till 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. every single night, Ariel, that's a telltale sign for me that your baby is just drastically overtired. So I would go back, watch the nap fighting thread. I know your baby's not nap fighting. I know you said that things go well during the day, but it's all a 24-hour cycle of mornings, naps, bedtime, middle of the night. What you want to do is enlist a consistent routine. If you want your baby to go to bed around 7, 8 p.m., it starts in the morning from when your baby starts their day, when your baby naps, when your baby does everything. I don't know what's going on here, but it's possible your baby's not starting his official morning until 10 or 11 a.m. And in his body's mind, Midnight is just 12 hours later. So even though he might not sleep 12 hours at night, it works like this. We have a 12-hour night and a 12-hour day, usually. So you want to kind of log your baby's habits and find out, Ariel, what is going on during the day? Is he one day taking a ridiculously long nap and waking up at 6 p.m.? And that's why he's not going to sleep till 11 or 12. And then the next day, is he up for 4 hours and is ridiculously overtired and is kind of in that point of no return and gets that second wind and fight sleep? Try to lock his habits and really try to introduce a consistent sleep routine. I don't have them on my website yet because I just made a new website, but there are a bunch of sample routines that I'm planning on putting in over there. But in general, your 8-week-old can't stay awake probably longer than an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half tops. So use that as your gauger. Don't wait for your baby to be overtired and start getting consistency. Obviously, things are going to range. You're not going to have things perfect. But if he starts his day more or less the same time every day, naps around the same time every day, goes to bed around the same time every day, that's going to foster consistency with his internal clock, and then you won't have this battle from 7 p.m. to midnight. Let's see. Oh, Ashley, I'm at work and I can't watch this live, but with the sound on, but you'll watch the replay. Okay, I was answering you, Ashley, so you will watch the replay of what I told you to do. Because you can definitely start as soon as your next baby is born to get things on track. Nina, hi Nina. Quick question, what's better, putting a baby to sleep a bit earlier than usual or letting the babysitter put her to sleep at her usual? Oh, Nina, you're asking me an unrelated question, but I do know what you're asking because we are working together right now. I'd say have the babysitter put her to sleep at a normal time, Nina, because we are really working hard on getting that consistency set up. You are in the works of getting your baby to sleep through the night, so that's going to be soon. I know your baby's schedule. I know everything going on with you. Have your babysitter put her to sleep at the normal time because, like I'm telling everyone else here, overtiredness is not our friend, and we don't want a baby to miss their sleep window, especially your baby, Nina, who are working so hard at getting her to fall asleep and stay asleep on her own now. So have the babysitter do it. Okay, so I have some time now. I am going to, yes, Jenny, I did answer your question. Oh, no, I didn't. I'm about to answer it now. Perfect timing. I said I was going to go back because your baby's not technically a newborn, but unless anyone else here has newborn questions that are for babies under the 4.5 month mark, I said I'm going to try to go through and answer the other questions here because there's a few of them with babies that aren't newborns. So I will do you first, Jenny. Okay. I'm going to read this question. I'm going to summarize it. Okay. Your 5.5 month old, 5.5 month old is just a little bit over not being a newborn, right? 4.5 months. Your 5.5 month old does not nap without you and takes forever to go down to bed at night. He sleeps pretty well at night, usually 1 to 2 wake ups, nurses, goes right back to sleep. He starts acting sleepy around 6:30 p.m. I'm just gazing through this. You try to lay him down before 8:30. He wakes up and just looks at you. He's wide awake. He screams his head off. He wakes up your toddler. Once you finally get that 2-hour nurse to sleep window, he's pretty much down for the night. Okay. Naps are where you desperately need help. He absolutely will not nap in his crib unless you nurse him to sleep. Then you lay him down at that perfect moment. If he stays asleep through that, he wakes up 10 to 30 minutes later. You lost the nap. You're starting to feel like it's not even worth to try to lay him down because if you just sit on the couch with him, you know he'll stay asleep. Okay? The other problem is that he takes 30-minute naps throughout the day. I'm just skimming through this here. Maybe twice a week he'll do a longer nap. Your 3.5-year-old was the exact same way. I wonder if it runs in the family, Jenny. Okay. And he was an amazing sleeper. What are you doing wrong to make your baby sleep so poorly? What do you do? How can you get your little guy to nap more than 30 minutes? I don't get a break from these kids all day. Between him and your intense 3-year-old, you're done. Don't be offended. I say I've tried that. I've literally read 4 books on baby sleep. Okay, Jenny, fine. I just read through that because I wanted to skim through it. It takes a lot to offend me, dear, so don't worry, first of all, about that. And a lot of people have read books. What do you do, though, if your baby doesn't necessarily follow the rules of the book, right? And your baby, you can't ask a book your baby sleep questions. Number 1, no guilt, okay? Some children are just naturally sleep fighters more than others. So you can't say, Jenny, it's your fault. And your 3.5-year-old didn't sleep and your baby doesn't sleep because it's because of you. Some children are naturally worse sleep than others. My 5-year-old now, my husband always said, thank goodness I'm the one who has him because he fought it with me even, knowing exactly what to do, getting him onto a routine. He fought me tooth and nail. And I had to work so hard to get him sleeping through the night because he was just like gung-ho sleep fighter as opposed to other kids of mine. I can get them onto a routine at day 1. They sleep through the night, no problem. It's an innate character trait, Jenny, so you can't blame yourself. You have strong-willed kids. God willing, they'll be, leaders of the next generation, but you didn't do anything wrong, okay? Let's talk about what we can practically do. Sounds like there's a lot going on here, Jenny. So, first of all, balancing life always. with 2 kids, a 3.5-year-old and a baby, is always hard. So give yourself a break. Number one, just mom to mom here. You know, do whatever you can to make sure you fill up your own gasoline tank, because when it's empty, you have nothing to give to the people around you. Go out for coffee with your friends, read a book, take a bath, do things that you like to relax, because otherwise if you're on empty all day long, of course you're going to be fed up with them, okay? Just a side point. Back to sleep. Okay, so your baby now. What you want to do is extend naps. Sounds like you are spending your entire day, Jenny, trying to get your baby to sleep. And I can like feel your frustration screaming out of my computer here. What you want to do is you got to get a consistent routine set up. Just like I was telling everyone with the newborns, and the truth is this is not so far off. Your baby is overtired. And if you're missing your baby at his sleep window, it's a boy, yes, at his sleep window, yes, you are losing it. Okay, if you're missing him at his sleep window, you are just setting yourself up technically for him to fight sleep. If his sleep window, and 5.5 months is about 2 hours, usually give or take, okay? If that ideal sweet spot for sleep when his body is producing melatonin, he's in this ideal space for sleep happens, and you miss it, like you've said, if you miss that ideal time, he's going to fight you no matter what you do. Whether you rock him, bounce him, shake him, nurse him, take him for a drive, or do a dance with a hula hoop, he's going to fight sleep because his body is in that fight mode because he gets that second wind and he can't wind back down for sleep. So first and foremost, before even working on teaching him to extend his nap, Jenny, I want to make sure he goes down easily, and that's by catching him at that right window. Because if you catch him at the right window for sleep, likelihood is he's going to transition back to sleep a lot easier. So that's number one. Log his habits and find out how long is that sleep window. You know, you might have nailed that sleep window, but it's totally erratic every day. It's a combination of the sleep window, but also consistent sleep times. I don't want him one day starting his day at 5 and taking his first nap at 7, 2 hours later, and the next day waking up at 8 and taking his first nap at 10. That's way too inconsistent. You always start his next nap around an hour and a half. He goes to sleep okay for naps, but they're just short. Okay, so you have the sleep window nailed, Jenny, but get the timing in gear. Make sure he's starting his day off every day the same time. Make sure nap number 1 is happening around the same time. Nap number 2, nap number 3. Bedtime, because if the sleep windows independently are there without the consistent backbone of the timing, then it's going to be really hard for him to sleep. Now, that's just a prerequisite, okay? Once you have that set up, what you're going to have to do is exactly what's happening here is he's falling asleep in scenario 1, Jenny. Falling asleep, being held, falling asleep, being rocked, falling asleep, being nursed, and after he completes his first sleep cycle, which is around that 20-30 minute mark, he cannot independently transition back to sleep because he needs your help. He fell asleep being rocked, being held, being bounced, being shaked, wakes up and sees, oh my gosh, now I'm in this cold crib all by myself. I want you to recreate that sleep environment for me. Not only do I want you to recreate it for me, once you start the song and dance, he's already so awake he's going to fight it. So once you nail the routine part, and I would say to spend a good solid week just on getting the consistency set up, you've been resistant to wake a sleeping baby. Yeah, I know. It goes against all of your maternal instincts to think that, oh, when a baby is asleep, you should not wake him. But you have to take the reins to actively ensure a consistent sleep routine happens. It's not going to be, methodical. He's not a machine. He's not going to wake up at 7:35 and 2 seconds every day on the dot. But if he can start his day around a certain time, 6:37 every day. You said he wakes up at 7, wakes up 6:37 or 7:30. I don't want his mornings one day starting at 6 and one day starting at 9. That independently is going to cause him to fight sleep. Okay? Now, once you have that nailed, then you have to start learning it, teaching him, someone just walked in my house. I'm getting distracted. Hi, how are you? Good morning. We're in the middle of creating a new office for me. That's why I'm working from this bedroom today, because my new office is going to be ready soon in my basement. But once you have the routine set up, Jenny, start teaching him how to fall asleep and stay asleep on his own. I talk a lot about this in the bedtime battles video, so go watch that. You have to use a method you're comfortable with. If you're anti-cry it out, don't do cry it out. If you want to use a gentler method, go for it. If you're gung-ho cry it out, fine. There's no judgment here, but you have to teach him how to fall asleep on his own so that way he can consistently transition back to sleep, because everything else is a prerequisite to set the stage that you'll be successful. But if he's always waking up from sleep cycle 1 and can't transition back to sleep cycle 2, he's not going to learn to do it. Okay? So that's your homework, Jenny. Keep us posted and let us know how it goes. All right, who else had a question not about a newborn? I think there was a question here someone asked who was here. Ryan Myers. How do you suggest consistent naps? Sometimes my guy naps for 2 to 4 hours and other times for 30 to 45 minutes. Ryan, if you're still here, how old's your baby? Let me know how old your baby is while I look for the next question here. Great, Jenny. So happy to help you. Okay, Ryan, if you are here, Ryan Myers Richardson, How old is your baby? Okay. We'll see if you pop in here. I'm just going to answer generically since I don't know how old your baby is. Enlisting consistent naps sometimes takes hard work, right? Just like I told Jenny Ryan. I told her to wake up her sleeping baby, even though it goes against every single fiber of your parenting being, because everyone thinks a sleeping baby should never be woken up. But if you want to get consistency set up, sometimes you have to wake up a sleeping baby. So if your baby's naps sometimes, oh, you're here. So tell me how old your baby is, Ryan, okay? And I'll start talking about the idea, and then I'll tell you consistently. If your baby, 12 weeks, oh, so you have a newborn. So if your baby sometimes naps for 45 minutes and sometimes naps for 2 hours, you want to set up a framework of consistency and try to go with that. Usually, and this is just averages, okay, Ryan, but usually a 12-week-old needs to take 3 naps throughout the day, staying awake for about an hour and a half to 2 hours between those naps. And I would like to see the total day sleep about 4 hours total, 4.5 hours distributed between 3 naps. So that would mean, and I'm just giving you a ballpark, an hour morning nap, a 2-hour afternoon nap, and another hour third nap, something like that, okay? So what you want to do is create a routine that works for you. Do some research. Like I said, I'll have those sample routines up and ready on my website soon. There's just a lot going on. And when your baby wakes up prematurely from the time you designated for a nap, let's say you've set an hour for the first nap and your baby wakes up after 10 minutes, try to help your baby sleep, go back to sleep. Rock your baby back to sleep, help your baby back to sleep, because you just want to focus on getting their internal clock set up properly for sleep, because you can't teach them to consistently do it on their own sometimes, especially if you have sleep fighters like Jenny does, and they need a little bit more help, or if you have a sleep fighter like my 5-year-old to this day, okay, tooth and nail. Seriously, he's a great sleeper because I worked really hard, but naturally it's not an inborn trait in him. So you have to work really hard. If your baby, is still sleeping at the 2-hour mark, and that's the second nap you've enlisted for 2 hours, gently wake your baby. I don't mean going in with pots and pans saying, wake up, morning time, opening lights. Gradually, gently, because if you want to reset a baby's internal clock, you have to help them do that. He sleeps way more than that, usually about 6 hours total. Ooh, yeah, that could totally be contributing to his early rising, Ryan. Most definitely 6 hours is a lot for a 12-week-old. A lot. You would think, what's the difference? 4.5 hours versus 6, but it takes a major toll. So I would try to lessen the amount of day sleep, distributing the naps a little bit differently, so that way day sleep is not adding up to more than about 4.5 hours, because that could very much be a culprit of early rising. You can watch the early rising video we did. I just organized all of them so you can check it out. Watch the early rising thread that we just did, because we talk a lot about that, but with newborn specifically, 6 hours is a lot of daytime sleep for him. I would definitely try to redistribute that so it's not as much. Okay, let's see. There was one more question here, not about a newborn. That's a newborn. Elise. Yes, that was it. Not sure if this qualifies as a newborn. It's okay. We have some time, Elise. Your 6-month-old wakes up every 2 hours during the night. You've successfully transferred her to a pack and play, sleeping flat on her back, and she falls asleep on her own most times. If not, you soothe her by petting her head and helping her fall back asleep. Most nights you're able to do this when she wakes up and help her back asleep. We feed her at 12 and at 4, but how can we support her to stay asleep longer stretches? This has been going on for a few weeks. So Elise, we did, and I just organized the videos. I know I keep saying that because I'm excited, because all of you have been asking me. Go watch the videos about night bottles and night nursings, night feedings. And I talk a lot about how to actively space out those night feedings without letting your baby suddenly have a screamathon for 4 hours because they're ravishingly hungry, okay? Because habit and hunger are correlated, and I talk about that a lot. So watch that video. It will help you. I'll try to post it actually below for you directly, but like I said, I made them as organized as I could for now. With like a little bit of arrows with the topic so you could see which it is. So you'll definitely want to go check out the night wake ups. Elise, if anyone else has any more questions, Ryan, you are welcome, my dear. All right. That's newborns, okay? I'm going to post the article that I talked about in the beginning of the 7 newborn sleep secrets I swear by, just to help you all. The biggest thing is getting a newborn onto a routine. If you can get a newborn onto a consistent daytime pattern, consistent bedtime pattern, consistent morning, consistent naps, it is going to solve the vast majority of your newborn sleep fighting, and then by the time you have a 5-6-month-old, you don't even have to get to sleep training. Can I promise you they'll be a magical sleeper? No, but you will be worlds ahead of the game if you can help them learn how to transition to sleep, how to get their body in gear for sleep, and how to do things well. That's what I want you to check out, and also all the other ideas of the white noise and the swaddling, most things people know about, but in case you don't, you want to check it out. For new babies, like I answered Ashley, you can get them onto routine, onto consistent sleep patterns at a very early age by making sure they don't have that day-night confusion and switching it around. So that is that. I'm going to post, I actually just started doing a different type of call when you learn about my sleep services, but my next sleep group is actually, I'm closing up at the end of the week and we are starting next week. Sleep groups are for babies that are not newborns, babies that are over the 4 to 4.5 month mark. If you are interested in hearing more about that, send me a private message right now and you and I can schedule a one-on-one call. I will tell you all about my sleep groups, all about how they work. It is a guaranteed sleep service that I will work with you as long as I need to, as long as you need me to ensure 100% that your baby sleeps through the night, that your baby is taking awesome naps. So if you're interested, I do have a few spots left still in my group that I'm closing up at the end of the week. Today's Wednesday. By Friday, Saturday, I'm going to be closing that up and we start next week together. So definitely send me a private message right now if you are interested in that, in learning about my sleep services, learning about how you can hands down definitely get your baby sleeping through the night and on a great routine. Otherwise, have an amazing Wednesday and stay tuned for next week's Monday thread. And like I said, I'll try to hop in randomly, try to do whatever I can, but there's a lot of questions. If you want to ensure you get an answer from me, wait till the theme comes up that speaks to you and your baby and post it in the Monday thread, and I'll hop on here Wednesday answering you. Otherwise, have a great week. I hope you all sleep well tonight. And like I said, send me a private message if you want to talk about grabbing one of those few spots I do have left in my group for next week. All right, take care. Bye-bye.